Defense on Madden 25 can be incredibly difficult, even for some of the best players in the world. But if you want to get stops, before I even recommend any playbook to you, you have to know how to use the switch stick feature. I mean, just look at this interception I got on the #1 player in the world, Henry. The switch stick is a brand new feature in college football 25 and in Madden 25 that is going to revolutionize the way we play defense for the rest of time. And that's not an exaggeration whatsoever. This is a game changer. Knowing how to do it and how to do it well is going to make all the difference in the world in defense. So I can give you a playbook, but it's not going to help you if you don't know how to use this. So get in practice mode, play games against other people, get it down. It takes a lot of time and practice, but once you do it, you're going to take your defense to a whole different level. So I will give you guys a very brief rundown of how to use the switch stick here, and then I will recommend some playbooks on defense that work the best around this feature. Now, for starters, our user cannot be blitzed, meaning we can't be on the defensive line here. We can't blitz our user linebacker, which is something I feel like we've done as Madden players for years. He has to be in a coverage assignment. So in a zone, manned up to somebody, even a QB spy works. They just have to be in a coverage assignment. Once the ball is snapped, we're going to use the right stick and flick it in the direction of the player that we want to click onto defensively. And that's going to vary depending on two things. One, what defense we're in, and then two, what offense our opponent is in. So for example, we're in a cover 2 here. Our vulnerabilities are going to be deep up the middle of the field between the two safeties, or deep down the sidelines outside of the deep halves over top of the clouds. And that means we have to pay attention to routes that might develop to those areas. So for example, I'm watching number 84 Kendrick Bourne to develop on a fade or maybe a post here that splits both safeties over the middle of the field. So in this case, I'm going to flick up into the right to get onto my safety. I'm going to take it away, and then I can flick over onto this safety and just make sure I'm not giving up anything to the sideline way over on the opposite side of the field. And obviously you can get as crazy as you want with it. You can flick on to both safeties. You can come down to the linebackers. I've seen people switch stick like 7 or 8 times on one single play. A guy like myself, I'm 28, all right? I'm a little bit older than a lot of these younger kids playing, so I typically only switch stick once, maybe twice per play max. I like to keep things simple. So the first playbook I'm going to recommend to you guys is the New York Jets defensive playbook. And the reason I like the Jets playbook is for the formation nickel wide. I feel like it's reliable, it's consistent, it's easy to set up. So if you're a beginner, it's great. If you're experienced like myself, it has a ton of different coverage cells that work really well against a bunch of different formations. And it's also pretty decent against the run on top of it. And this is really my go-to defense against people who run trips formations, which can be really difficult to stop, especially in Madden 25. I basically call 2 plays against trips formations, cover 6 or cover 3 cloud. So let's go ahead and call cover 6, which is match defense here. Now, the first thing we want to do here is back off our outside corner on the trip side. He will press and he will get burned, especially if it's a very fast wide receiver. So I'm going to press Y or triangle if I'm on PlayStation. This is going to bring up my coverage adjustments tab here. I'm going to press A to individually adjust, select the wide receiver icon of the corner that we want to adjust. So in this case, it's obviously X, Kendrick Bourne. We're going to back off our corner by going up on the right stick. So it looks like this. So now we don't have to worry about this guy pressing and getting burned over top. Cover 6 is an amazing stock coverage against trips tight end. We're going to call it against verticals here, which is obviously one of the best plays probably in Madden history, not just in Madden 25. But the cool thing about this is our quarter flat zone here from our slot corner is going to carry the streak. Now, that's not a good start. That should not have happened. So we're going to run it again, and hopefully our slot corner actually does his job this time. There we go. He plays it perfectly this time. Literally nothing is open. We can use the left side linebacker or the right side. All we really have to watch out for is the running back, and then also any route from the tight end going to the left side. That will break match coverage. Now, again, there are some match bombs that will work on the trip side, but if we get bombed over the top on the trip side, I will just mix in some more cover 3 cloud instead. But you guys can see, again, literally nothing open as long as we just watch the running back and he breaks the tackle. Okay, that was not supposed to happen either. Now, obviously, there's a lot of unpredictability with cover 6 because it really depends on the offense that our opponent is running. Zones are going to match the different types of routes depending on the combinations. If you want something a little bit more consistent where we know our zones are going to be, cover 3 cloud is another great option here against trip side end. Typically, what I'll do here is I will user the right side linebacker and let that hook curl take away any seam routes on the left side of the field. But obviously I can jump over there and help as well, and then I can come down here and just try to bait that. Mosley, if he was a little bit taller, a little bit faster, I probably could have picked it off. Now, there is one drawback to calling cover 3 cloud and cover 6, mixing in both, and it's that it's pretty obvious to an elite level player which one you're calling. When we call cover 6, remember our outside corner defaultly presses. Here in cover 3 cloud, he's backed off. So that's a great indicator of what defense we're calling. We don't want it to be giveaway, and there's actually a brand new feature in the game we can use to make sure that our opponent has no idea what defense we're in. And that is the shell feature here at the bottom of the play calling screen. We can go left or right with the right stick to select a shell here. So if I use the cover 0 shell, even if I call cover 3 cloud or cover 6, it's going to look like cover 0. So this is a great way to disguise your coverages. And again, because we want to mix in cover 6 and cover 3, I'm actually going to go ahead and use the cover 6 shell. Let's go ahead and call cover 3 cloud now with the shell once again set to cover 6. We'll just come out in any play here, and now you guys can see it is exactly the same. I'll do the same with the cover 3 cloud, even though our third is less likely to press and less likely to be burned over top. I'll still back them off, so again, everything looks the same, and we're trying to fool our opponent here. But yeah, this is super cool. Definitely something you want to incorporate defensively. You can get really tricky with it. Again, you don't have to call just these 2 plays or use this shell. You can get as advanced or as simple as you want with this defense. The next playbook I'm going to recommend for you guys is the Kansas City Chiefs defensive playbook. Now, the reason I love the Chiefs defensive playbook is for the dime 3-2, better known as dollar from previous Maddens. Now, one of the features I really missed that wasn't in College Football 25 that is in Madden 25 is auto alignment base. It just makes sure our defense looks exactly the same. It sets up exactly the same regardless of what offensive formation our opponent calls. Now, I will be showing you guys a very simple blitz setup. If you've played any Madden in history, this is probably something you've seen before, and it's DB Fire 2. It's reliable, it's consistent, it works. Now, I actually find that this blitz works best against compressed sets, so gun bunch, tight open, tight slots, halfback weak, anything like that, this blitz is going to be highly effective against because there is a cover 2 shell behind it. If we go against a spread formation, a simple fade down the sideline is going to give us a ton of trouble. So all we're going to do here is press Y or triangle. I've already done it, obviously, just out of pure habit, pure muscle memory from running this so much in previous years. But Y or triangle down on the left stick to press our defense. We can manually walk our safeties up a little bit further as well, just to make sure we're really getting in our opponent's face, sending the heat and trying to lurk underneath with our user. And then if we feel like they're going to pass, we can actually press RB or R1 and then up on the right stick to guess pass. Now, if your opponent runs and you guess pass, your safeties are going to run in mud. If your opponent's running back gets to the second level, it's going to be a touchdown every single time. But if you guess right, you're going to get better sheds. Your team is going to ignore the play action. The blitz is going to scream a whole lot better. And again, this blitz is not as good as it used to be, but still very solid. Now, right there, we obviously got killed by the tight end wheel. Bunch verticals is one of the best play calls of all time, and we can actually shade our zones. A lot of people don't know this. They know you can shade down or up. You can actually shade inside or outside, and it's going to change the way your zones play on defense. So we want our vert hook here from our linebacker to play the tight end wheel. What I'm going to do here is tap Y or triangle if you're on PlayStation to bring up our coverage adjustments. I'm going to shade outside by going right on the right stick. And then now when they snap verticals, you guys will see this linebacker here should play the wheel. He gets out there, plays it perfectly. Obviously, that means we have to guard the middle right there, the running back underneath, and then the crosser over top as well. So a little bit more responsibility there for our user, but that is a super cool tip for you guys right there. But the cool thing about Dollar is it also has cover 3 cloud, this time with a 3-man rush. So you get an extra yellow zone in the middle of the field, and it also has cover 6. So if you wanted to, you could run this defense versus trips as well. The 3-man rush is actually pretty decent. And the last playbook I'm going to recommend for you guys defensively is actually the playbook I use on defense, the Green Bay Packers 4-3. Now, the reason I like the Green Bay Packers defensive playbook so much is because of the 5-2 formation. And 5-2 is the perfect defense if you like to send the dog, send the heat, get the pressure, and force people into making mistakes. Now, this blitz is pretty straightforward just because we're going to be running man coverage behind it. The play is pinch. Now, what we're going to do here is tap right on the D-pad to bring up our quick adjustments for our linebackers, down on the right stick to blitz them. I'm then going to press multiple times. Sometimes it takes 1 try, sometimes it takes 2 or 3 to get our linebackers into the gap. So press, there we go, 1 goes in there, and then I have to do it 2 or 3 more times there to get that other linebacker in the gap. Now we can actually user a safety here and send 7 if we really want to send pressure, if our opponent is blocking their running back constantly. Otherwise, if they're not really trying to block anybody or a running back at most, we can just user one of these middle linebackers we put in the gap. Again, in order to switch stick, he cannot be on a blitzing assignment, so I'll man him up with the running back in this case. And when they snap the football, we should generate a ton of pressure here. I just have to watch out for the running back right there. You guys can see we get a ton of people coming in at the quarterback. Our opponent is going to have to make a very quick read, and they might do it a couple times successfully. They might hit us with some big plays, but eventually, if you send the pressure, most most people are going to fold. They're going to throw a pick. You're going to get a fumble, big time sack. There's just a lot of good things that can happen for us defensively when we're constantly sending the heat. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Let me know in the comments below what playbooks you guys are running on defense in Madden 25.